The historian C. Sanders defines 3 principles to determine whether events really took place in our history. These principles are text criticism, internal and external evidence. Text criticism. Text criticism is the study of how original text have been handled down. Do we have the original text of the first authors of the Bible? The reliability of the text of the Old Testament has been confirmed by the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And there is none like the historical documents of the New Testament. More than 5,000 copies of original written text, called manuscripts, are found. The oldest manuscript found so far is called P52 and is a piece of the Gospel of John dated around 125 after deity. All of the manuscripts differ from regions and times and don't differ significantly. From a scientific point of view, we can be absolutely sure that we have the original text of the first authors of the New Testament. Internal evidence. Internal evidence deals with the ability of the authors to tell the truth. Were the authors of the New Testament able to tell the truth? The authors of the New Testament were eyewitnesses or had spoken with eyewitnesses. The Gospel had been rapidly spread and accepted throughout the whole Roman Empire in the first century. This means that the first readers who knew about Jesus Christ considered the New Testament reliable. External evidence. External evidence deals with historical confirmation from other reliable sources. Does external evidence confirm text as stated in the New Testament? Archaeologist Sir William Ramsay has proved that the New Testament was written in the 1st century after deity. Historians of the 1st and 2nd century, like the Jew Josephus Flaccus and the Roman Tacitus, wrote about Jesus Christ called Messiah in Israel. Early church leaders of the 1st and 2nd century confirmed the reliability of the New Testament. So, we have the original text, the authors were able to tell the truth, and their reliability has been confirmed by other reliable sources. Real divine solution. Can we find a real divine solution in the Bible to our emptiness deep inside and our self-centered nature? Since we have turned our backs to God, we can feel emptiness deep inside. Since then, we have lost our close union with God and have become self-centered. Because of our nature, we are not capable to perfectly obey God's law. Therefore, we are guilty, whether we experience it or not. And we are not capable to pay the debt of our sins. The prophets of the Old Testament have foretold that God will change the nature and destiny of the people that will enter and live by His new covenant. Jesus Christ came to receive God's punishment for our injustice. He died instead of us at the cross, just as promised. He rose from the dead to allow us to enter into His new covenant. No religious leader has ever been raised from the dead, but Jesus has. Which power can make such thing happen? Only God's power can. And if His opponents had the opportunity to show His dead body, then they would have used it in order to eliminate His faith. Hundreds of His followers, however, met the resurrected Christ at the same time. Most of the apostles died as martyrs because they knew about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The message of the early Christians and the message today is good news. If you really entrust yourself to Jesus Christ, your life will be changed and you will receive eternal divine life. Do you want to accept the love of Jesus or do you reject Him? It is your choice. What about peace and love? A true follower of Jesus Christ will become like him, and God will give such a person peace and love. But it's a process. Now we have seen that the Bible meets all of the 6 criteria explored. I challenge you to figure out the 7th. Can you hear God's voice in the Bible? Why don't you start to read the Gospel and ask God to speak to your heart? He is willing to convince you of His truth. Thanks for watching part 3. I hope you have seen part 1 and 2 as well. It's my desire that this movie helps you in your search for truth.